So I feel like people are doing really well in the current cycle. They are doing a good job of expressing heavier loads than what they're used to. So they're just really handling the load well. Form as a whole is not really breaking down. People are really holding form under heavier loads than some of them ever lifted before. There was some PRs in the gym this month, which is awesome. And they did not need to necessarily max out their 3 reps, but some people were just really going for it and did anyways, which is awesome. And otherwise, people are still getting comfortable pushing heavier and heavier loads than what they're used to in the past. So it's going really well. And I feel like we're very well set up for our next cycle. So we are going to do a descending ladder. So it will be 8, 6, 4, 2, 1, 1, 1, as many 1 rep attempts as they need or would like to do in that day. That's for all the main lifts. So the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. On Monday, we're going to have squats on Monday. We will do that 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. Then we will get into some kettlebell goblet squats, some sissy squats, and introducing a banded Spanish squat for the first time here. And then calf raises and some Thor sprints, actually. We'll be sprinting an empty sled for the first time in focus. So that's exciting. That'll be for time instead. Yes, so Thor is our big sled that looks like Thor's helmet. So it's got a wider handlebar on it, so a little bit more comfortable. They can stay a little bit more upright when they push that sled. And they don't have to sprint a Titan, which is very much heavier and harder to sprint. So it's light and slick and moves pretty fast on its own. Then we'll be going on Wednesday. We'll be doing bench press, same rep scheme, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. And then after that, we'll be doing some dumbbell front raises, lateral raises, and introducing the Arnold press. And we'll do that as a tri-set. And then we'll be ending with some standard dumbbell kickbacks. And then also introducing the overhead tricep extension behind the head, which we haven't done that yet with dumbbells. Friday, we're landing on deadlifts. Same thing, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. Then after that, we'll be doing some lunges, introducing the curtsy lunge, which is a version of a back step lunge. And then we'll be doing some landmine single leg deadlifts, which we have not done them on the landmine before. And then ending with a hammer curl on the cables and also holding a barbell kind of superset. So there'll be an isometric hold going right into a cable hammer curl. So it's a bit of an intensity technique that we'll introduce to people this cycle, which they haven't done that one before. We'll be doing a lying overhead rope sled pull if there's time, but that's not going to be necessarily the emphasis on this day. So we'll see how much time allows for, but if we have time, then we'll be doing that rope sled pull overhead. So generally every 3 months, it's been leading up to this 1 rep max. So actually the previous cycle was that 12, 10, 8, 6, 12 plus. Then that bridged into the current cycle, which is 6, 6, 6, which we knew our 6 rep because that was our heaviest set from the previous cycle. And now it's 3, 3, 3. So this next cycle actually takes the previous 2 cycles and bridges it all together by adding in an 8, 6, which is from cycle 1, then 4, 2, which they know what their 3 is from this cycle. So they should be able to gauge a good 4 and 2, and then introducing that 1. So this cycle not only bridges us, but actually the previous cycle also bridges us to this current cycle. So everything is kind of culminating in this next month's cycle as kind of the pinnacle before we kind of reset things and start again. I actually think the first 2 weeks would be good to kind of hold back a little bit and again, not actually try to fail on weeks 1 and 2 of the 4 weeks and really save your 10. I like to say save that really max efforts for weeks 3 and 4. Because neurologically you can have some breakdown and we really want to kind of end on a high note and not kind of nosedive as we go through the weeks, which things can tend to break down when you're really pushing maximal loads. So I really do want people to be flirting with that 90% on weeks 1 and 2. And they probably would be surprised to hear that. They're probably expecting to try to max out every week because that's the purpose. But really every week should build upon the previous week. So we are kind of trying to beat it. But those first 2 weeks, we're also playing a little bit more of a conservative game. So we can really go big on week 3 and 4 and not have any neurological breakdown throughout the month. I think some of my tips would be to not go too heavy on the 864. I tended to kind of think I always wanted to push, make every set count, and they count even if they're not maximal loads. I think in the past I had a tendency to want to lift too heavy too soon, and then I would fail unnecessarily and maybe not really get a true number for those twos and ones. So that's my first tip. Don't go too heavy on the first couple sets. And also, I would say utilize other equipment like lifting belts. If you haven't before, it's going to be a good time to practice using a lifting belt. Really rely on that breathing, that 360-degree breath, like you're filling up the belt, whether you have one on or not. And utilizing control. I think it's easy to let fear kind of bully you around and, win. And I really would say to try to not let fear get in the way. Try to trust your body, trust the training you've been doing, trust the coaches, that we're going to create a safe environment for us. And we'll also be utilizing the safety racks much more this cycle. It's a new piece of equipment they can use, but also that psychological element of fear should hopefully be mitigated through the safety bars. So that would be my tip, to utilize as much equipment as you need to safely execute heavier loads than you've done before. Oh, sleep is number one, even more than nutrition. Sleep is more important than anything. I mean, training and sleep are a horse and carriage. So 8 hours at least. If you can sleep more than 8, great. No need to go over 10, but that 8-9 hour is really the sweet spot. Also, I'd say nutrition, it's a good opportunity to try to clean up the nutrition a little bit. Carbs are great. My biggest advice is keeping fats outside of your workout window. So not having minimal to no fat 3 hours before and after your workout. So if you work out at noon, then maybe you try not to have fats, between 10 and 2. So you're kind of getting a couple hours before and after, because fats and fiber tend to slow down your digestive system. And your body's going to need those carbs. It's going to need to be able to utilize them to express that power right when you need it. And you don't want to be bogged down by digestion, and fats will slow everything down for you. So have them in the morning and at night. Otherwise, if you are actually coming to an early focus class, then you could do it fasted or have some quick digesting simple carbs. Fruit, dates, honey, things like that are great to have before you come on in the gym. And then you can save your fats for more like late afternoon and nighttime. I think trust the process comes to mind, which is, if you haven't noticed, painted on the wall when you walk in here. So yeah, trust the process. This is the process at its best, right? And I think I see programming as an art, and I think it is artfully and crafted, and there's more than just my mind. There's multiple minds going into this programming as well, that everyone has been able to contribute. So I think just like trusting and respecting the process, and just know that if something happens this cycle that isn't according to plan, maybe you don't end up gaining a weight that you had really hoped for, like, this isn't the end. We will have so many more again and again. This process keeps repeating, and not every process we're going to necessarily always get the results that we're looking for, but we're playing the long game here. That's really what fitness is. Fitness is not instant gratification by any means. Like, it is a journey, and it is one cycle at a time. So I think that would be my last message for them, would be just to trust the process and keep showing up. Whether you make the lifts you want to or not this cycle, there are more to come. Yes. So the last Saturday of every month at 11 a.m., we have that focus meeting. There'll be some food and drinks and refreshments. So we'll be able to give back to the members a little bit, but we went really well last month, and people got to meet each other, and there was great conversation and connections made. And it was really wonderful. It was really nice to be able to sit down and talk more in depth with people and just get to know people on a little bit of a deeper level as well. So really hope people come out for that. Absolutely. I'm really excited for the day when it's a big packed out house and everyone gets to meet each other. Yeah.